I guess once again, I'm all sweaty before we even really get started. Go finger. Go finger yourself, Steve. I think it's like 5 degrees or something outside. Although, to be fair, I have been running my heater, obviously. Um, but it is not 3 feet of fucking snow on the ground like they told us. It is, I am going to guesstimate. I haven't even been outside, so I don't really know. Only looking through the window and on my security cameras and everything. Um, it's like, I'm going to say maybe it's like a few inches or something, maybe 6 inches. It's not even a foot. It's definitely not even a foot. It's snow. Before I take this dab, um, if you couldn't tell by these switch cuts, angle cuts, whatever you want to call them, I'm doing a little experiment. I'm just experimenting around with shooting multi-camera, multi-angles in the living room. This is the S5 2X right here. We are at 50 on the 50 mil prime at 1.8, and I forgot to adjust the shutter speed. I'll do that here in a sec, and you can see what a difference it makes when I do that. When I do that, but this right here is the GH5 at 14 millimeter at I believe 800 ISO. I don't know. I can't tell because the S5 2X is going to the TV, and this one I'm trying to read across the room from my little thing. But anyway, it's the 14 mil prime on the GH5 right here. As you can see, I just changed the shutter speed, so there should be less flickering on my trees and stuff over there. But back to the GH5. Hi. Hi. We are at 400 ISO, and the aperture is, I think, 2.5. That's where we're at. I don't know how long these batteries are gonna go. I can monitor this one on the screen, but again, the GH5 over here is like halfway across the room, so it's kind of hard to read it off of the display. So any hoot and kitten caboot, as we always say to shoot. And I always use the same rhyme, like I can't think of a word like boot or mute or, patoot. Whatever. Let's take a fucking dab. Last dab I took was several hours ago, so, we could stand a refresher. We could stand a refresher. We could definitely, ain't that right, little girl? Looking at you, GH5 and Alicia Keychains, we could use a refresher. Ha. Just waiting for the buzz. Cheers. Oh, man. Oh, baby. Oh, yeah. There is a... One other thing I'm trying is this little thing right here, this little light is, I'm just trying it out as a little key light. I'll lay it down and see. I'm looking at the screen, so don't switch to the GH5 future me. That's really not making much of a difference at all. That's, ooh, that's a little bit better. Man, that dab went by super quick. Super quickness. I am going to have to check those settings in the menu. All right, let's try it. Okay. That's very subtle. That is very subtle. What about now? Oh, Ah, that's a little bit. All right, we're just going to leave it right there. And, you know, sometimes hey, that might look a little bit different. In post, I'll see things that I don't notice right here. Even though I am monitoring the S52X on a fucking 55-inch screen. But whatever, it's whatever, future me. I don't make the rules. I'll just touch myself. Because I'm a real stoner. I can touch myself. I'm real. And today's video is not sponsored by Strawberry Fanta. My hysterectomy gram over here on the GH5 is like all over the place. So, I am sorry about that. I am fucking sorry about that. It is hard to like adjust the exposure compensation and everything to correct the hysterectomy gram and everything when I have to sit in front of the camera. Again, as I've said in a previous video, I don't like this. Like, I think I look more natural without it. So let's bring that down a little bit. Anyway, it's hard to adjust for my skin tones and stuff when like the stuff behind me and everything and my couch and, little baby Groggy over here, sitting over here, fucking, mooching off of me, whatever, it doesn't share my skin tones. So it's hard to adjust my hysterectomy gram, especially over here on the GH5 when the fucking screen is like that big. It's definitely not 55 inch. It's like the old saying. I mean, that's enough to cancel my plans for the day, but sure ain't no 8 inches. So what do you guys want to talk about? I had absolutely nothing planned out for this. This is like kind of a spontaneous fucking thing because, I was all prepared today with the storm coming. Oh, why is I meant to put my hoodie out of the way. I was all prepared for this storm to come in and it be like 3 feet of snow and like knock the power out. And, I should have known. It hasn't been that in decades. And it's not that now. The last significant snowstorm I really remember, or I'll just say the last, like, bring the city to a halt type of snowstorm I can remember was like the winter of 95 into 96. And I was walking up. Of course, these names mean absolutely nothing to you if you're not familiar with the Stanton area. But, I grew up on Selma, and my girlfriend at the time lived in Farrier Court Projects. And so, I had, choices, but I could have stayed home with my family and had, plenty of food and drink and everything. Well, I mean, sort of plenty of food and everything. That was before my dad's promotion, and, we did struggle, but regardless, But my other option was to try to walk to Farrier Court and, be snowed in with my warm, sexy girlfriend, And so I opted to try to I did walk to Farrier Court. But let me tell you what. Keep in mind, I was not like just a little kid at this time, obviously. But I was like, I don't know, around 17 or so. I think I was 17 and she was 15 or something like that. Anyway, so I decided to walk to Farrier Court, turn down the corner, and get on to Baylor Street. But the snow is up to my waist in the middle of the road the entire way there. The entire fucking way there. And so, like, I am treading up the Baylor Street just like marching, you know. From the turn on Glen to Baylor Street, you know, the, what the fuck was, anyway, you know, from my house to Glen was, I don't know, roughly maybe 20 feet or something like that. And then maybe like another 40 feet down the hill to the turn to get onto Baylor Street. Then from Baylor Street to Farrier Court, it's, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 blocks. On a normal day, you know, I could make that walk pretty easy within, I don't know, 20 minutes. Definitely under a half an hour. I mean, we used to walk it all the time. I used to deliver papers up there too. A little bit younger. But anyway, it took me about 3 hours to get to her apartment. Well, technically her mom's apartment, but, you know, whatever. Well, actually, I don't know. It might have been the cockroaches' apartment. As many cockroaches that were there. They definitely had the numbers over us. There was cockroaches in that fucking place everywhere. Another wave, another ocean. But, you know, I digress, you know. I did not regret, you know, walking up there. In a way, it was worth it. We started having problems after that. And by the end of that snowstorm, was kind of us falling apart, ironically. I mean, I don't think it had anything to do with us being together for so long. I think it was more a thing of just me being naive and too nice. You know, I really do. And I'm not just saying that as, you know, bitching about why the nice guys, you know, finished, whatever. I don't, you know, whatever. It's not that. It's just that I was nice and naive, too nice and naive. And, you know, she took advantage of that, I think. Jackie might see things a little bit differently, but, you know, that's whatever. I don't care. You know, that was like 30 years ago. You know, but the point is, you know, that was a lot of fucking snow. That is definitely the worst snowstorm, possibly tied with another one that we had back in the 80s when I was a little kid. But I can't really say which was worse because the one during the 80s seemed equally as bad as that one. But, you know, I was like maybe 4 feet tall too. I was, you know, I was like young. I might have only been 3 feet tall. I'm saying I was probably like 7 or 8, if that, during that snowstorm. That was, as a matter of fact, that was, might have been the snowstorm. No, actually, I don't think it was, but there was a snowstorm that was pretty bad back in the 80s and the 90s and stuff. You know, we used to get some like real snowstorms in these parts, as they say. But that one, you know, there was one I remember, like, we had those 2 types of sleds at our house. We had those like plastic circle ones, and then we had like the cheap plastic like rectangular ones with the like little handles on the front. I mean, I'm saying I think those things were like $0.25 a piece or something. They were super cheap, but they worked. Anyway, I digress again. My mom tried to tell me before I went off. She said, Timmy, it's not going to work. There's too much snow. You're not going to be able to sled. I was like, I will. Watch me. Fucking watch me, Mom. I didn't say it like that, but I was defiant. She's like, all right, go ahead. Have fun. Have fun. And so uh, down the street on Selma, there was this, we had two big hills that we used to sled down. One was behind our house and across the ditch up a hill in some people's backyards. And I mean, nobody cared in either place. And then there was another one that was kind of like that down the street behind some people's houses and stuff. And again, we all the neighborhood kids used both hills to sled, to play, throw the football. Everybody was cool with it, which has nothing to do with the story. Just to put that out there, we weren't that bad of hoodlums. But anyway, so I put my sled down onto the at the top of the hill. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. I jump down on the sled and just sink to the bottom of the snow. And I'm like sitting there like walls of snow like up to my neck around me, and like I'm not going nowhere. I'm like, oh shit. I should have listened to my mama. She tried to tell me that it was too much snow. Too much snow. And, I was very much north of the wall that winter. We did have some snowstorms, goddamn, I think it was last year or the year before when I had moved out here that was like, it wasn't really significant. It was like maybe a half an inch of snow or something, but we did have a nice little snow wall sort of on the side of the parking lot because the snow plow came in to plow the snow that was on the parking lot off to the side and everything, and so it just kind of like pushed it over to one side, and the one of my neighbor's daughters, used that opportunity to like kind of pat it down, and she got her little sled, and so the ice was like almost solid, like almost like ice, and she was just took her sled down, and the hill was maybe like 5 feet, it was like 5 feet of snow or something because the plow just pushed it all over there. Anyway, so she took her little sled and was just going down and going down, getting back up, going back down. And I thought that was pretty cool, That was ingenuity, because I don't know. Of course, I've been living here for a few years now, and I still don't know where you would really go to sled around here. I'm sure that there's places, but, when you're 8 or 9 years old. One of the best places to sled back in my hometown was a little place we called Suicide Hill. And I mean, that was Stanton is one of the most one of the I'm sorry one of the most like hilly cities like around. It is Stanton is they call Stanton the land of many hills because in this city there are many hills. It's who and there are some doozies too. But anyway, so there's like some pretty good spots to go sledding out around in Mary Baldwin. There's like this big field, and that one's pretty decent. That might even be my second pick of places that I liked to go. I liked sledding, but the spot was Suicide Hill. That was up on Gypsy Hill Park Golf Course, and I swear to God, like the hill came down like boom, like that. I mean, it was fast, far. That it was probably 50, 60 yards straight down. I mean, not like straight down, but like almost. And it was pretty fast. And then you climb up the hill on the other side, and then there was like a bridge going across it. Oh my God, that was the part of it I hated because I fucking hate heights. And that bridge is like, it's a golf cart bridge, you know, so it's like just a wooden bridge and like you can see through the planks as you walk across it and everything. It's not fun for me. But, you know, it was kind of worth it just to go sledding down Suicide Hill. On a side note, I had one of my weirdest dreams ever, ever about Suicide Hill. And part of this is, I mean, to this day, I don't think was really part of the dream. I'll explain, don't worry. But, you know, in the dream, I was, oh, the heater's back on, Keychains. Anyway, so in the dream, I was, you know, we were sledding down Suicide Hill, if that's not obvious by the introduction to it. And, you know, we was doing like, you know, we always do, sledding down, having a ball, having a grand old time, except that the final time I go down, the other side of the other hill on the other side at the bottom is gone. And all of a sudden, it's just like a big cliff at the end. And so I go sledding down. I might have already told this about this dream in one of the Stony Shaman's Corner videos. I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm telling it again. Sue me. I get down to the bottom of the hill and go flying off the edge. And then the last part of the dream is just me kind of falling down, floating through the abyss. And I woke up like several feet above my body, floating down back down into my body. And this is the really, really weird part because there is some like rational explanation to it other than like astral travel or whatever, you know. But I'll get to that in a sec, I guess. But, you know, the weird part about it was that I didn't like fall into my body, then close my eyes and go back to sleep or anything like that. Like I floated down into my body and then got up and got ready for school and went to school. You know, so it was like really, really weird. That's why I say it wasn't like really part of the dream, but it might have sort of been. Because I do have this thing where sometimes, especially that wasn't really, other than the falling thing, you know, didn't feel, well, I guess that part was a little bit traumatic, but whatever. Anyway, so when tend to have more intense type dreams, especially as it relates to like my PTSD. Obviously, this is separate from that, but you know, I have this like disassociation problem. Not like dissociative personality, but like I tend to wake up a lot of times and like still be in the dream, if that makes sense. And like, you know, takes me sometimes anywhere between, you know, 5-10 minutes to like a half an hour to realize that I'm not still dreaming, or, you know, to like gradually really wake up from the dream. If that makes sense. Probably not, because, you know, I don't expect that is very common. I'm sure that there's other people out there that experience that. Maybe it's a PTSD thing. I don't really know. Well, obviously it's more than that, because, you know, there was trauma before that, but yeah, I won't get into all that because, you know, I don't want to be a downer for this video. Anyway, you know, so it is possible that me floating down into my body was just me having trouble disassociating from the dream as I was waking up. Because, you know, especially for me, you know, falling is an intense thing. My thing with heights, you know, that dream was probably a little bit more traumatic than I really give it credit for. Uh, so there is that. The last one I can remember that really, was like a few feet or more um, was, I want to say, probably around 2011 or 20. No, actually, it would have either been like 2010 or maybe 2012, somewhere around there, because I can't remember if I was in my first apartment downtown Harrisonburg or if I was in my second apartment downtown Harrisonburg, because in December of, or well, 2011, I moved in with my ex girlfriend and my last girlfriend, consequently. And then I left her um, December of 2011. It didn't last long. That was PTSD in its own right. Another wave, another ocean. I know. Anyway, so within a few months of moving back to my parents' house, I moved back to Harrisonburg. So I don't know if this snowstorm was before or after that whole thing, but I do know that I was living downtown Harrisonburg at the time, and it did shut down the city for, I don't know, like a couple days or something. The one in 95, 96, to backtrack a little bit, the whole city of Stanton was on shutdown for like a week, maybe a week and a half. It was bad. But anyway, so this one, shut things down for a couple days. And then there was a big, bank of snow on the sides of the road for, a few more days after that. And then it kind of melted away. Um, and like year after year since then, it seems like we've been getting less and less snow. So, I think this is, well, I don't know. I was going to say this is the most we've gotten in years. It would have been the most we've gotten in years if we had have actually gotten what they said we were going to get. I mean, there were varying sources saying some different things. Like a couple of places on the TV were saying that we were going to get like, 10 to 12 inches. And then the thing on my phone said that we were going to get like 28 inches. And we didn't. It's like, I think it's probably 6 inches or less out here. I don't even think it's that much, really. I think it's like maybe 2 or 3 inches, if that. How much do you think it is, Keys? Keys? I love yees. Meow, meow, meow. She is a little bit like confused and maybe even a little bit shook up or whatever after today, because we've been kind of like moving stuff around, because I went back into this corner back here and like finally fixed the smart plug for the lamp back there so I could finally turn that back on. And then I got to move it around and a little bit, or at least what I could. And I pulled some dolls that had fallen over and everything, and I tried to. Well, you can see back there behind me. I'm going to move out of the way real quick just so it can focus up back there and show you a little bit, because I did, fix some stuff back here. Let me. Hey girl, hey girl. So Keys is over here like, what the hell are you doing, Holman? That's not the way you lay down, you son of a bitch. And then if you, look at the GH5 over here, you can sort of see there's a little bit more. I put like these pillars and stuff up. There's my hand right here. And then off to that. I need to get back there again and fix Jason. Jason is kind of leaning over a little bit. Uh, I need to put something back there behind him to like hold his head up, like, keep your fucking head up, Jason. Jeez. Oh goddamn! It is 8:30 already. Time fucking flies when y'all get me in here like rambling about random shit. Um, I have been in here, just the recording part. I have been in here for about 45 minutes. Uh, yeah. Of course, you won't be able to tell that at this point of the video because, there's stuff I'm going to have to edit out up to this point. So, I have no idea what the time frame is going to look like, but it's probably going to be another longer, as they say, another langer, another langolier or whatever. Swing it from the chandelier, mama dear. Hi. Hi. Can I pick you up and put you on the couch with me? No, I'm not going to try. I am not going to traumatize my little baby girl. Ha. Ha. She is over here walking underneath of the tripod because, she is reaching for a toy underneath of the tripod because I got the tripod over top of her catnip box just because it was a convenient place to put the tripod. And, because, if you can't tell, switching back to the S52X, if I move this tripod up any closer, it's going to be too close. Too damn close. It's already, I accidentally put the front leg up on my little water shoes sitting on the floor. So you know what? I'm going to just like fix that real quick. So cutty cut slice, home slice. I wish I had have caught that so much sooner. Like I did catch that a while back in the video, but like I was like, oh man, we're already, like this, so you might as well just leave it fucking there, man. Fucking leave it there. And now I'm like, By the way, on a completely side note, looking at myself on the screen right here, don't switch to the GH5 right here because I'm just looking at myself on the screen. But like, I am definitely gonna have to color correct my fucking face because my face is fucking overexposed right here. And even if I turn off this light completely, there's really nothing I could do. I don't think. I don't know. I'm probably over whack acting or something like it, whatever they call that. You know, something. I don't really know what I'm talking about. And look, I am over here like fretting about like how much longer the battery on the GH5 here is gonna last. And like I forgot because for some reason all of the internal batteries I've got for it are dead right now. So I've got it hooked up to an MPF 740. So like that this one is gonna still be going by the time back to the S52X dies. Which is it's about I don't know, almost halfway there. That is some pretty good battery time though, because we've been shooting, or well, it's been running a little bit longer than this because setup and everything. But we've been recording on this camera right now for about 50 minutes, and the battery is only about halfway, or at least according to the screen, the battery is about halfway. Oh, I know another fun snow. This one is just a general snow memory, but not really a specific snowstorm because we did this pretty much all the time. And sometimes just coming in from like the rain. Because, in kids, sometimes you go out there, put on your boots and splash around in the rain and everything. But, let me first explain, the house that I grew up in was a pretty old house. I think it was built in like the sometime in the late 1800s, maybe the early 1900s or whatever. But you know, central heating, central air, none of that stuff was a thing when that house was built. And the house had unfinished rooms and or un would you call it an unfinished room? Because usually an unfinished room still has access to it. There was a room inside that house. This is a complete side quest right here, but there was a room in that house that was not only unfinished, but was completely sealed off. Like for real. My dad figured it out because the house next to us had the exact same design, except that it had one more room where ours didn't. And so my dad went into the closet of the bedroom, and because the closet was just like, little small, like little closet, you could hang some shirts in there, and then there was like a little shelf on the top. So he started like knocking around the walls, and the back of the wall solid. And then he got to the side, and it was like doot doot doot, hollow sound coming from it. He's like, huh. So he got permission from the landlord first, and then he started knocking out the wall. And sure enough, there's a whole nother room back there. And it was unfinished, but, for years, they just, took out the wall right there and then used that for storage when that was their bedroom. But then later, they decided to move their bedroom to the back of the house. And so then I think it was me and my sister at the time had that as our bedroom. And Dad decided he was going to hook it up. And so he went out and he bought, paneling and everything and some carpet and shit, and like really fixed it up and finished the room essentially. And then, years later, as I'm like a teenager and my cousin Chris moved in, like me and Chris would share a room. And then like we take turns. Like sometimes he'd sleep back there and I'd sleep in the main room and vice versa. And then have girls over and like, he'd hang out in the front room. I'd take my date back there, and use your imagination, I'm sure. Or we had Jackie and Angie right now. I'm sorry, I probably shouldn't be using names, and I don't care. Like anybody's going to know who they are anyway. Or at least anybody watching this video, unless you know me from back. But, you know, we'd have, a couple girls back there just like smoking and drinking and, partying, whatever. And, my mom would be like, okay, you have them out of here by 10 o'clock. And we'd be back there because, like, you couldn't hear us from back there, like, at all. And so we'd have these girls over there till like 2 o'clock in the morning, and do the same kind of thing. They go into the front room for a while. I don't know that we did this with Jackie and Angie because like they were, that was when we were just starting to hang out with them, or like ready to hook up, whatever you want to call it, and but like but we would do that sometimes. I'd take my girlfriend back there, and Chris would have his in the front, or vice versa, and we had good times in that house. Where was I going with that? Anyway, I am sorry to get caught off on that. It's good memories, It's good memories, as they say. Anyway, so the entire heating for that whole house was just one big furnace in the basement. Old Freddy Krueger type furnace. And then it came up into the hallway on the main level, and it was like this big grate. I want to say the grate was like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 feet by 4 or 5 feet. It was pretty much a perfect square. Anyway, so the memory is took me forever to get to such a simple memory was, just coming in from the snowstorm and we'd all put our boots around the furnace to get them to dry and everything. And sometimes we'd even like put a rack over top of the furnace and hang wet clothes to help them dry. I can't believe I went through all of that just to get to that little piece of memory. But as you could clearly see, you know, we had a lot of good times. And to this very day, only one place other than that house on Selma has ever felt like home. Where I'm living right now, it don't feel like home. Where we moved to a few miles down the road from that house, that never felt like home. Uh, the other places I lived at in Stanton, they never really felt like home. Uh, the only other place that has ever felt like home, and this is gonna sound funny or crazy, whatever, to a lot of fucking people, was Western State Hospital. Just on one stay. It didn't feel like home on any of the other times that I was there, but the one fucking time. And it's not so much just because it was Western State Hospital. I mean, it was a number of things because I had like yard privileges and everything, so I had access to like the whole campus, and I could roam around. I could smoke freely. Uh, I had somebody sneaking me in a little bit of weed, and I would go, roll up behind one of the buildings and, smoke out. But one of the bigger things was that I had a girlfriend out on the yard, and my girlfriend out on the yard had a girlfriend. And, so it was kind of like that Typo Negative song, my girlfriend's girlfriend. Kind of like situationship, maybe you'd call it. I don't know. But, it was some good fucking times. It was some good fucking times. That one time in Western State Hospital. If you don't know Western State Hospital, if you hadn't figured that out, it's a state-run psychiatric institution. Uh, you know, hey girl, figures you'd be coming up here as I am fitting to wind down. Look at her back there making bread. You making bread for my doll baby's doll baby? That's not really working because my face. I can't. I have to lean the other way. There we go. Or maybe not. Maybe it's not going to work this time. Oh, shit. She saw herself on the screen. Yeah, that's your tail over there. Now she's going to get up close and wonder why she doesn't see herself anymore. If you haven't figured it out, she has not figured out how the TV thing works. And I don't think that she quite like recognizes herself. Here, hold on, I got you. I know you don't like being handled. It's okay. I was trying to show you yourself. You're okay. You're okay, buddy. Yeah, you're okay. Yeah. So, all right, we're gonna I think wind this down because I've still got like half a battery. This battery is doing exceptionally well. But, it's already like almost 9 o'clock. So, cheers as soon as my thingy thing comes to temp. I see, but you're my little dude, little dude. She's my little dude. Cheers. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Oh, that's my jam. Cherry cock. Cherry cock is going in my mouth. If cherry cock is coming in my mouth. That's the name of the strain. Well, it's actually cherry cocktail, but whatever. There is somehow the duration time on this got fucked up. Let me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me figure that out real quick. Okay, I think I fixed it. So let's just do it again. Oh, let me check my thing.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Oh, you shut the fuck up. You shut the fuck up, you son of a bitch. Poke this lady real quick. Poke. Cheers. 1, 2. I forgot. I gotta warm it up, Chris. That's what I'm about to do. Warm it up, Chris. That's what I was born to do. Warm it up and then dab it. Dab it all to hell. Frankly, my dear, I do give a dab. Much better. I think I messed up by, like pressing randomly on the button. Problems with the single button design. And every brand having a different number of clicks and things. You son of a bitch. Oh, me son of a bitch. I love ye. Not me, but ye. But I love keys. Yeah, I'm talking about yees. Ooh, yeah, baby, that is butter. That is better butter. And gonna be a nutter. Ah, ah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Zippity zip and all of that shit. Thank you all for hanging out and hearing me ramble about snow stories and some other stuff. Whatever those things were. I love you all, and I will see you in the next one, babies. Bye, 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 bye. Magic.